For this video, I will be covering Adobe Photoshop. The Photoshop application is an image editing application. In my opinion, it is one of the top leading ones out here in the field, and it is the most used by graphic designers, interior designers like myself, and architects as well. Even though there are other applications that are free that are in good competition with Adobe Photoshop, I still feel that Adobe Photoshop is a rich program. I recommend investing some time learning it yourself, and also this will help you when you are out in the field and you're applying for jobs with different companies and design firms and architectural firms as well. In front of you here, you have an image of a space that is rendered, or the image, which was a PDF file that is edited in the Photoshop program. If you like what you see in this video, remember to like the video, share it with others, and also leave any comments or questions that you have in the comment section. To get to this final stage of a fully rendered or edited image, we first start with bringing in a PDF file of an image into the Photoshop program. In doing that, I want to go ahead and set up a new space. So let's go to a new drawing. When you are creating a new document, for this video, I'm just going to create a custom document that is sized at 8 by 10 paper. And I'm going to select Create. In doing that, I have a nice white space, which is my paper or my background. Just like any other programs out there, like AutoCAD and Google SketchUp, Photoshop has an area where we create layers. Remember, our layers always keeps our projects or whatever we're working on in order. It provides us some type of organization. For the first drawing or the background, we have a background layer. Now we're going to go ahead and pull in a PDF file into Photoshop. Going over to the file, I'm going to select Open because I'm opening up a drawing or a file. I currently have this saved as a Photoshop floor plan as a PDF, and I'm bringing this right on into our application. In the Import PDF box, it has an image. I'm going to go to my thumbnail size and make sure that it is selected to be large because I want it to come in here pretty large into my space. Selecting OK, I won't change any of the other information. I'm just going to select OK. And now we have it brought into our application here. As you can see, it comes in as a hatched or a distorted type image or background. I now want to get this floor plan onto our actual drawing space, which is this background canvas that I started. I can toggle between the two files that I brought in. Looking over on my toolbars, I will see a lot of the same tools that I have found and shown in other videos like AutoCAD and Google SketchUp. The Move command. Then we also have Crop. We have the Rectangle command. Scrolling down, we have the Pan command. All of these tools act the same way as they did in other applications. Attached to them is a small arrow where you can go ahead and left click and see other commands that are attached to the main command that is on the screen currently. Once you select another command, that icon will change to what is current. To get my drawing onto my original canvas that I created, I'm going to select my move command because I want to move this image to my drawing sheet. Selecting a line of my floor plan, I'm holding down my mouse and I'm moving it up and over to my untitled sheet, and I'm still holding down the left click of my mouse. And I'm just going to bring it back down into my white paper space and release my mouse. And as you can see, the image populates on the screen. Now this image kind of cuts off because my paper space or my background is not as large as my drawing. So that I can go ahead and make the drawing fit on this paper or this space completely, I want to go over here and select my background layer. And then from there, I will go up to where it says image and go to canvas size. The canvas size is the paper space on which you're working on. I want to go ahead and increase my left and my right side of my drawing because as you can see over on those two sides is where it kind of cuts off. So we're going to go ahead and increase our width, and I'm just going to pick a sweet number and go from 3,000 to 3,500 and see where that gets me. Selecting OK, as you can see, now my drawing fully fits on this background space. At the bottom of your screen, there is a toggle which allows you to move from left to right. And then also over to the right, you can move up and down as well. I now have my background layer and layer 1 set. Layer 1, if I click to it, we know that is our plan view image that we brought into our drawing. If I select this eyeball that is found here, I can turn my floor plan image off and select it to turn it back on. Now, I recommend always naming and organizing your layers as you go. So seeing that we are clicked on layer 1, you can go up to your menu bar where it says layer, open it up and go down to where it says rename. Selecting rename, now we can rename this layer and we can call it our plan view, so that we know that this is our floor plan. Press enter and it's all set. The only layer that you cannot change the name to is your background layer. Notice that selecting it and coming over to layer, rename layer is not populated because this will always remain your background layer and it will always remain locked. I do apologize, my screen cut out. As you can see, again, it will be your background layer, or as I have changed it to when I took my lock off, layer 0. Again, if I was to turn this layer off, I would need to unlock it, select the eye, and notice that the white space behind disappears, and now I just have my plan view layer on. But we want to make sure that layer stays on and locked so that it does not get in the way or we get confused during our drawing. What I need to do here is because I pulled this PDF in from a produced AutoCAD student version, I need to go ahead and remove the wording that is found on this drawing sheet. To do that, I will come over to my rectangle command. It's your rectangular marquee tool. And if I went ahead and drew a rectangle with my mouse around this wording, and I want to select delete, nothing happens. This is because this actual plan is on our plan view drawing. So I would need to go over to the plan view layer and then press delete, and now it is removed from the drawing space. I'll show that again. Being on that background layer and having the wording select, I can't press delete or remove the wording. I need to be on the plan view layer and then pressing delete, and I can remove that wording. I can go over to the rest of the wording that I would like to have deleted and create a rectangle around it. Should I want to select more than one area at a time, while in this move command, I can hold down my shift key so that I can add more items that I want removed. Once everything is selected, I can press delete and remove that wording. To come out of a command, you can click anywhere into the outside space around your white sheet. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and begin to render or edit this image. If I take something that is called my magic wand, this is the fourth symbol down on your tools. If the magic wand is not populated, again, you will left click to go ahead and select the magic wand from the drop down. I'm going to choose to select inside of these interior or exterior walls. What I want to do is shade in, or poche as interior designers call it, our interior and exterior walls. Because these walls are considered to be our border walls, they need to appear dark or heavy drawn lines. And what we do is shade them in. So having this wall selected, I want to create something that is called my wall layer, in case I need to turn this wall layer on or off while working in my drawing. Again, also keeping my drawing organized. So now that the wand tool has selected the wall area, you can see that it begins to kind of glow with the line constantly moving around it. I can go up to my rectangle command while it's selected, and I'm just going to simply left click inside of the space of that exterior wall. I'm going to scroll down to where it says new layer, and now I'm going to name this layer as walls. Selecting OK. I have a walls layer. It's populated, letting me know that that is the layer I'm on. I can come back over to my exterior wall, left click again, and go down to where it says fill. The fill command allows me to now put color into this space. I'm going to make sure that it's on color, choose the color, and I'm going to stay in this darker family, black or like a dark gray, because my border wall is that dark wall that is heavy. Selecting OK. I'm going to keep my opacity as 100%. We don't need this wall to be transparent or anything at this time, so we're just going to keep it 100% and select OK. And now you can see that these walls have populated. Clicking out into the space, I can come out of the command. Now, in order for me to do the remaining of the walls, some may want to go ahead and click onto the walls, again using that magic wand. But notice I am doing that and nothing is happening. That is because we are selecting the walls from our plan view. So we need to make sure we're on that plan view layer and then use that magic wand tool to select the walls. We have all of these walls selected, and to add this smaller area here, I can just hold down the shift command or button and select inside of that space. Now that we have these items selected, we want to add the color. We want to make sure that we're adding the color or the shading on the correct layer. So I'm going to switch back to my walls layer that was created, and then go ahead, use my rectangle command, left click in the space and select fill. At this time, I could go back into the colors and select the black color, but whenever you come out of your color command and go back into it, the default is always the last color that you produced. So because the last color I produced was the black for the shading of the walls that I originally started with, I can just simply select OK, and it will automatically populate. Again, clicking out into any space outside of my canvas, I can come out of the command and see now that I have shaded in all of my interior and exterior walls. To check my work, and make sure that my walls are all in the same layer, if I turned off my plan view eyeball, I would just have only my walls. Turning that plan view back on, and then turning off the eye for my walls, it brings us back to that image. The beauty of the Photoshop and the editing is that you can get, once again, all of those fine details of a drawing. You can use your zoom tool to zoom into a space and also begin to shade in or render things like the glass of the window and then also these window line edges. I'm going to use my marquee tool, go to my plan view layer so that I can draw over these lines for my window. Using that rectangle command, I'm just drawing and tracing over more so this thin piece that is considered to be the glass of the window. From here, I'm going to go ahead and left click and create a new layer. I'm going to call this layer glass because this is the glass of my window. You can call it window glass, or for me, I'm going to just say glass. Selecting OK. I now have a glass layer over in my layer drop down. It is populated. I'm on the layer. So now I can also left click again and fill it, which means I can add color. And going to my color, I'm going to go to the blue family here and give it the color of possibly a window glass. If I'm satisfied with that color, I'm going to select OK once and then OK again, and notice that it now turns blue. If you look back at your drawing, I'm going to go to that zoom command. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out and look back at this drawing using my toggle over to the other side. I have a window here as well with a long piece of glass. So I can do the same thing. Going on my plan view, I can zoom in as well. Select that rectangle command, and once again, outline me a strip of glass. Now that I have it drawn, I want to go to my glass layer before I fill in the color. Go ahead and select fill. The last color I chose was that blue color, so if I select OK, this glass should appear blue. And there we have it. clicking on my zoom command, you can zoom in, but if you want to come out and you're in the command, you can go ahead and right click and select zoom out. Now I have 2 pieces of glass. Get out of the command. If I was to turn off my glass layer, both items should disappear as they did. If I was to turn off my plan view, I would just have my walls and my 2 pieces of glass, because those are the only layers that are still turned on at this time. So now I would like to take the time to go through this drawing and create other items. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm also going to add these edge lines to the windows and show you how to make multiple edge lines or multiple layers and add them all as one. I'm going to take my rectangle command once again and just trace create a new layer by clicking it, say a new layer, and I'm going to say edge line 1. Select OK. And then I am going to go to where it says fill. And the edge window line, choosing a color, I'm going to go to a light gray family. And then I'm going to repeat this, stand in that rectangle command. Another new layer if I want it to be. Edge line 2 and select OK. And I want to fill this. Note that I'm on the edge line 2 layer. I want the same color to be the last gray that I chose. I'm going to zoom out to come out of the command. Sometimes it does want to be stubborn and stay in commands. So I have 2 edge lines, line 1 and line 2, over in my layers tab. If you want to combine these, you can do so by adding a new layer, by selecting new layer, give it a name, and just saying edge lines, for instance, selecting OK. Now I can put my edge line 1 and 2 on this layer that is called edge lines. Seeing that I have edge line 2 and edge line 1, if I turn off edge line 1, it goes away here on the left of this window. Edge line 2 goes away to the right. Let's turn these back on. I can go ahead and select edge lines 1 and 2 if I want this all to be on the same layer because they're all edge lines. And I'm going to select 1 or 2, hold down my shift, and select edge line 1. These are both populated, so I want these to be joined together. To do that, I would say merge those layers. And then also, I still have now edge line 2 and edge lines with nothing on this layer, but I want this to be on the layer. I can select it, edge line 2, right click and say merge down. So now I have all of those edge lines on one layer. So this is how you would join. I turned that off and now they're turned off, but if I turn them on, they're back. This is the way that you would join your layers. By selecting that layer and choosing from the right click to merge down or merge together, whatever the need is for that layer or the two layers or multiple layers that you're choosing to do, whatever that need is, you can merge them together or you can separate them. For now, let's go ahead and scroll over to the opposite side. Now we're on the edge line layer, and I just want to make everything an edge line. I'm going to make sure that we're in the right command here. Go to my rectangle command and create that edge line for the outside and the inside of this window here. I'm going to select fill, selecting OK because that's the same color. Again, I'm on that edge line layer there. And doing the same for the opposite side. Fill and selecting that fill. Turning off your plan view. Choosing to zoom out. At this point, you may see a little spacing between any of your drawings. You can use the move command to move these lines or items up into place, selecting the item and selecting move. But you need to make sure that you're on that correct layer. If I turn back on the plan view, again, that plan view is just kind of my base, which will help you along the way. So this is just the beginning of rendering or editing an image in Photoshop, bringing a PDF file into this Photoshop application and beginning to work with it, and starting to organize your different layers, because again, layers give us organization. When we are working with these layers, we do want to make sure that they are in order too. The layer that is at the very top is the one that sits on top. So our background layer is our canvas that lays on the bottom. On top of that sheet becomes our plan view. And then our plan view, we really should have our walls be the next layer. And then you have your glass and your edge line to follow. So this is just layering, hence the word, everything that you are putting into your rendering. Once again, I hope this video is very informative and easy to follow and kind of gets a spark going in you and wanting to learn more about the Photoshop application. Remember to like, share, or leave comments to this video down in the comment section. Stay tuned for the continuation of this photo rendering of this image. See you soon.